An original podcast from podlatino.com.
In 2014, the World Cup returned to South America, and Argentina arrived in Brazil with a question that felt more like a verdict waiting to happen. Would Lionel Messi finally become the champion his country demanded, or would the ghost of 1986 remain untouchable? By then he was a deity at Barcelona, a collector of impossible records, a weekly miracle dressed in blaugrana. But the Albiceleste shirt told a different story, one of weight, doubt, and an inheritance too heavy for any mortal shoulders. Argentina's path to Brazil was uneven, at times brilliant, at times brittle. The squad blended experience and wounds. Mascherano, the conscience, Di Maria, the bright blade. Higuain and Aguero, strikers of thunder and silence. Romero, a keeper whose faith sometimes outpaced his minutes at club level. The coach, Alejandro Sabella, favoured order over spectacle. He would build a cage around chaos and trust Messi to be the key. The group stage began against Bosnia and Herzegovina at the Maracanã. The air felt ceremonial, as if history were warming its hands over an old flame. Messi drifted between lines, half shadow, half omen, first deferring, then daring. In the second half, he accelerated into open night, combined, cut left, and released a left-foot shot that kissed the post before rolling home. Argentina exhaled. The second match against Iran threatened embarrassment. 90 minutes of frustration, a wall of red shirts, time dripping away like a leaky faucet. Then, in stoppage time, Messi received the ball at the edge, curled it with a painter's patience, and found the far corner. A nation cheered with the relief that sounds like prayer. Against Nigeria, he scored twice, trading blows with Ahmed Musa in a wild rhythm. 3 matches, 3 wins, 4 goals for the captain. He wore pressure like a cloak and pretended it was silk. The knockouts bent the tournament into a different shape. Teams grow cautious there. Beauty is taxed at a higher rate. Switzerland in the round of 16 was a snowdrift of white shirts, compact and stubborn. In extra time, Messi broke the geometry, sprinting through the middle and sliding a pass to Di Maria for the winner. Belgium in the quarter-final was a lesson in control. Early strike by Higuain, then long minutes of Argentine suffering managed by Mascherano's iron lungs and Messi's gravity. Every touch a small reprieve. Then came the Netherlands, a semi-final of chess moves and clenched jaws. Messi converted his penalty in the shootout, and Romero became a sudden myth. Argentina reached a World Cup final for the first time since 1990. The Maracanã prepared to host a dream and a reckoning. Germany awaited, organised, athletic, ruthless when space appeared. Yet Argentina carved chances out of nerve and will. Higuain pounced on a mistake and went clean through, only to pull his shot wide of eternity. Later he did score, but the flag rose like a judge. In the second half, Messi slipped free and shaped the ball with that familiar caress, inches beyond the far post, a ghost goal that still haunts the air above the grass. Palacio lifted a chance into the night, as if the ball were helium and not hope. Extra time crept in, heavy-legged, heart loud. In the 113th minute, Goetze chested, swung and stabbed the knife. The sound in the stadium broke into 1,000 rooms. Messi stood in the centre circle after the whistle, hands at his sides, eyes searching a horizon no longer there. He collected the golden ball as the tournament's best player, an honour that felt like a condolence card. He walked past the trophy and did not touch it, the way mourners do not touch glass. Back home, The commentary split. Some praised his leadership, others sharpened the old accusations. "He saves his brilliance for Barcelona," the unforgiving chorus sang. "He is no Maradona." Yet the truth of Brazil was simpler and more mysterious. Without him, Argentina would not have stood on that stage at all. He was the thread that held the quilt together, even when the fabric frayed. To understand 2014, you must understand the weight Messi carried. He was asked to be artist and architect, arrow and shield. Sabella's plan hid vulnerabilities and trusted the captain to conjure light. Sometimes he did by scoring, often he did by bending gravity so others could breathe. Mascherano's tackle on Robben, Di Maria's diagonal runs, the discipline of Gare and Demichelis, these lived in the orbit of Messi's magnetism. Opponents built game plans around stopping his space, even on nights when his legs felt leaden. And still he found lanes, pauses, breaths. He was not alone, but he was singular. After the final, Buenos Aires wept in streets tiled with blue and white. The team returned to crowds that sang thank you through tears. Messi smiled, thinly, and held the pain the way professionals hold microphones, firmly, briefly, without breaking. He would carry that scar into the years of more heartbreak. Chile twice, penalties twice, the night in New Jersey when he skied the ball and then retired into a camera. But 2014 remained the deepest cut because it had promised triumph and delivered a lesson instead. The lesson was cruel and ordinary. Greatness cannot guarantee a perfect ending. Sometimes the ball chooses a different poem. For many, the comparison to Maradona became a drumbeat. Diego had been chaos turned into gold, a leader who sang with his teeth. Messi was a quieter hymn, a violin instead of a trumpet. People mistook silence for absence. They missed how he organized Argentina's breath, how he measured risk, how he saved his accelerations like matches in a storm. The pain of 2014 was not only defeat, it was the misreading of a life's work in the glare of one night. Years later, the images remain. Messi gliding past the Iran backline, hand raised in joy. Messi with head bowed at the Maracanã, shadowed by fireworks he could not claim. Mascherano roaring, Sabella collapsing, Romero kneeling in prayer. Football is a museum of moments, and Brazil gifted Argentina a gallery of almosts. In that gallery, the captain is both portrait and visitor, studying what might have been and what still could be. The pain of 2014 did not destroy him, it disciplined him. It made resolve a muscle. He learned that carrying a nation means surviving its love when it turns into pressure and then into doubt. He learned to live with incompletion. Out of that incompletion, he kept playing, kept passing, kept threading needles at impossible angles. He chose to stay with Argentina when leaving would have spared him scars. He kept walking back into the fire because some vows are heavier than medals. This is what the final taught him and what it teaches us. Legacy is not a single photograph of a trophy raised. Legacy is the long road of returning after the photograph we longed for never happened. In 2014, Messi stood a breath away from a cup that would have ended every argument. In failing to touch it, he became something rarer. He became the player who transformed pain into patience, and patience into one more chance. And so the story of that summer closes not with the shine of gold, but with the dim, durable light of endurance. The boy from Rosario walked out of the Maracanã with empty hands and a full future. The world called it a failure. Messi called it a beginning. He was criticized for the golden ball, as if excellence could be blamed for defeat. Some argued the award should have gone elsewhere. Others recognized that Argentina's shape was stitched by his decisions in motion. Numbers could not capture what he carried. The feints that drew 3 defenders, the pauses that gave teammates time to breathe, the 40-yard walks that pulled a team up the field without a pass being made. At times, he seemed to play the tournament in slow motion, speeding only when the window opened and then slamming it shut behind him. On television panels in Buenos Aires, former players debated his leadership. Did he shout enough? Did he glare enough? They confused volume with authority. Inside the squad, he led by temperature rather than thunder, cooling panic, heating belief. Mascherano was the war cry, Messi was the weather. The final week in Rio told its own story. Argentine fans turned Copacabana into a moving river of sky blue and white, drumming, singing, sleeping under flags. Street vendors sold photographs of Messi next to saints. Taxi drivers argued tactics as if reciting literature. The city felt like a shared dream that could end at any second. When Götze scored, silence fell like ash. And still, in the morning, the chants returned. Loss does not dissolve devotion, it distills it. What did 2014 change for Messi? Perhaps everything. He learned how to suffer without breaking the bow. He learned that the game can withhold the prize even when you have done almost everything right, and that your task is to return anyway. He learned that legacy is a negotiation with time, not a bargain struck on one night. Back in Barcelona, pre-season began with the usual cameras, the same drills, the old grass cut into diamonds. Messi trained, quiet as ever, hungry as ever. The hurt travelled with him, not as an anchor, but as ballast. He would go on to rewrite seasons, to craft comebacks, to lift cups that glowed like answers. But a part of his legend would always live in the space between his hand and that trophy in Rio, a distance measured not in inches, but in years of perseverance. Ask those who watched every minute of that tournament what they remember. They will tell you about the run versus Nigeria, the pass to Di Maria, the breath held with Higuain through on goal, the way the camera found Messi's face after the final whistle. They will tell you about how a nation hurt and still loved him, how children painted the number 10 on their cheeks and kept playing until the streetlights blinked awake. They will tell you that pain can be patriotic, that it can bind people as strongly as victory. And if you ask Messi, he might not say much. He might shrug, look down, look up, smile shyly. Then he would lace his boots and walk toward the ball. Because that is the reply he has always trusted. The next touch, the next chance, the next story written across grass. Brazil 2014 was not the coronation many expected. It was the forge. In heat and pressure, something stronger was made, even if the world did not notice at first. It would take years for the shape to reveal itself, years for the lessons to pay interest. But in the museum of Messi's life, the room for 2014 is essential. It is where the crown refused his head and where he learned to build a kingdom without it. History tends to compress what it does not understand. It will try to turn that summer into a single image. Messi beside a trophy he did not touch. Look longer. Look at the passages before and after, the miles run between defenders, the hands lifted to calm frantic hearts, the choice to return when retreat would have been easier. Look at a nation learning patience through its greatest son. Then say again what 2014 meant. In the end, his greatness would not be measured only by the moments when everything worked, but by the seasons when it nearly did. That is why the pain of 2014 matters. It is the negative space that makes the portrait visible, the silence that teaches us how to hear the music that follows.